Now, recently, a photo of Ellen DeGeneres sparked a lot of backlash, and not because of her specifically, but because of who she was sitting next to and apparently having a really good time with. So let me show you that photo here. So, all right, well, that appears to be Ellen sitting there laughing with George W. Bush and Cowboys owner Jerry Jones' special box, right? And the reason that I point out the box, of course, is that this is something that regular people do not have access to. So there it is. Now, a lot of people very justifiably angry about this, and for good reason. George W. Bush did a lot of terrible things while he was in office, including lying us into a disastrous war with Iraq. You guys remember that? The whole Iraq thing? Yeah. Okay, so now Ellen, after she gets backlash online, a lot of tweets, she goes on her show and she defends herself by saying this quote, here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think we've forgotten that that's okay, that we're all different. Oh boy. So, look, I'm a little fired up about this, a little angry. So, number one, she sounds like the Republican. Generally, it's conservatives that say this. So much for the tolerant left. They're attacking their own for sitting with George W. Bush. Well, you know why? We, the left isn't really tolerant of war criminals. I don't know if you know this, but again, George W. Bush killed over 1 million innocent Iraqis. Just saying, war criminal. Okay, no, she continues. For instance, I wish people wouldn't wear fur. I don't like it, but I'm friends with people who wear fur. Well, okay, but you're comparing people who, like to wear fur with a war criminal. That's not really a good comparison, Ellen. But she says, just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm going to be not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think that they the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Being kind to everyone, again, doesn't extend to people who have done horrible things. And that's what George W. Bush has done. Look, I've got conservative family. I don't really have any conservative friends not anymore. And look, I don't agree with them on a lot, right? And look, that's fine. When it comes to things like, man, I don't think businesses should be taxed so much. You can have an honest, earnest disagreement about that. Or, man, I wish business didn't regulate so much, or weren't regulated so much by the government. Okay, looking up conversation, soda taxes, any of that stuff, that's fine to have disagreements on that stuff. Okay, but when it comes to differences like the murder of over 1 million innocent Iraqis, I tend to draw the line at that. And I think most people should. Not only did Bush lie us into a disastrous war for oil, but as a result of the war, we have tens of thousands of U.S. veterans. They're scarred on both the inside and the outside by this war. We had trillions of dollars that were wasted with no benefit. The U.S. is no safer than before, and the Middle East is a disaster. This isn't just about a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president. It's about the rehabilitation of a horrible person. You are normalizing through this behavior war criminals. George W. Bush should be tried at The Hague for his war crimes instead of laughing it up with someone that, when he was president, by the way, tried to pass a constitutional amendment to stop gay Hollywood liberals from being able to marry each other. I mean, but you know what this is, though? This is the situation. It's not right versus left. This is the powerful. This is the 1% versus the 99. Ellen has been accepted by the elite. She is a member of the elite. She used to not be accepted, by the way. And back then, I was firmly on her side. But now, she's accepted. She's part of the club. The same club George W. Bush, the Obamas, and yes, even Donald Trump is part of. You don't think at some point Donald Trump will also end up being rehabilitated by the same liberals that are calling for his head? Come on. Oh, that'll never happen. Donald Trump is literally the worst. Oh, until someone else who's worse comes along. Literally, they said the same thing about George W. Bush. Oh, I'll never forget Bush. Terrible, horrible person. Now you have liberals out there on Twitter, and you have liberals like Ellen that are defending George W. Bush. Disastrous. And you know why? It's because they're all members of the club. That club that you and I and everyone who isn't extremely wealthy will never, ever be a part of. This is a story about class solidarity. And Ellen shows that she's put class over anything else. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.